Welcome to the Ford Innovate 191 sales event, driving better SUV value for you. Take the new Ford EcoSport, featuring Ford Sync navigation with touchscreen, Ford Pass with Wi-Fi connectivity, rear-view camera, parking sensors and cruise control. And right now, you can order a 191 Ford EcoSport with an amazing 7-year warranty, 7-year roadside assistance and 2 years free servicing, all from just €23,525. Ford Innovate, driving better value for you. See it for yourself at your local participating Ford dealer. Offer ends January 31st. Ford, go further. Price excludes delivery and related charges. Terms and conditions apply. See Ford.ie for details.
Welcome into Sportsmemo's NFL opening line report with Teddy Covers. We're breaking down the 4 NFL playoff games, Wildcard weekend, plus throwing in some future book odds, season win total recap, and getting into the 4 games. Good stuff here on the podcast. Teddy, welcome into the pod. How are you?
Hey, great to be here. Happy New Year, Drew. Happy New Year to all of you out there in listener land. Really appreciate all of your support, all of your good wishes, and wishing nothing but the best for you guys in 2019. But it's still 2018. Let's do an opening line report, my friend.
Opening line report, you're right, and it is New Year's Eve. We're recording this on Monday, December 31st, 2018. We will be off, podcast schedule off on New Year's Day and back at it Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We'll have the NFL Every Game on the Board podcast coming with Robbie Vino and Teddy Covers. Also NHL pods and college basketball podcasts the rest of the weekend. Teddy, we got 4 games to break down here. You had a great NFL season, 63% every NFL play. Also, my favorite stat with your record, 58% since 2015 in the NFL. Knowing the NFL market's as good as anybody, and maybe even the best. Almost forgot about this one. Season wins this year, 5-0. You've been great for, 15 years now on this. What are your overall thoughts on the season win totals market?
Well, I'll tell you what. Of course, there's always bad information out there. I saw Darren Ravel tweeting yesterday, and he's such an easy target. But he's like, "Oh, the Patriots just went over their win total for the whatever year in a row." And no, they didn't. No, they didn't. Of course, and I follow the season win market really, really closely. That's how we've gone 87-35 with these plays dating back to 2001, and again a 5-0 this year, really. And make no mistake about it. I went, last year I was unlucky in the season wins. I lost 3 season win bets in Week 17. That Steelers game where I lost the Patriots by a half game where the Steelers caught the touchdown, and then, oh, no, it's not a cut touchdown, and it haunted me this offseason. So this year with the 5-0, I had 3 right sides. San Fran under, easy. KC over, easy. Philly under, relatively easy. But I got lucky. I got lucky with the Miami over and Buffalo under. It was all one play. It was Clay's drop touchdown in the end zone in, what was that, week 16, week 15, whatever week it was down in Miami. Had to be I think it was week 15. We were able to cash the Dolphins with that, and then the Bills ended up losing at New England to cash there. So I got 2 wins by a half a game that I was absolutely lucky on. So it makes up for the 2017 disappointment. I'm not going to complain about it this year. But obviously, 87-35-3 long term, 13-2 with the big tickets. That's a record that I am proud of, Drew, no question. But you look at the broader markets for this year. Buffalo 6.5, and again, I have my spreadsheet open here from the beginning of July. Buffalo 6.5. Miami 6.5, New England 11, the Jets 5.5. It's like one after the next, coming right down to the number. The markets are pretty tight on season wins this season. There weren't a lot of significant outliers. Okay,
that makes a lot of sense, and it just makes sense that the market is becoming kind of more efficient. I know your service is getting a lot more attention just from clients calling in, and obviously your track record speaks for itself. Do you see that continuing in the future, and any outlook towards next year's season wins?
Sure. Well, what I did after the Week 17 box scores, and this is, again, the very preliminary, very first thing that I'm doing, when you say starting 2019 prep, I just put an initial gut powering number on the team, on teams based on a healthy roster. There'll be 1,000 things that happen between now and, we'll see season wins. The very first numbers come up fairly early. I don't delve into them really until after the draft. After the draft's the time to do your season win work, because that's when you have an idea. This is what a team has accomplished in the off season. And of course, the Chiefs this year are a beautiful opportunity. Where the markets are falling on this team. You look at Mahomes, there's a reason Andy Reid went for this guy. The Jags, an easy bet. I didn't cash the Jags under. The Rams over this year. I mean, they're still good bets, and I expect there will continue to be good bets. Packers under this year was a right side. Lions under this year was a right side. Bears under, Bears over was a right side. Giants under was a right side. I mean, you can go on and down the line. There were Raiders under 8. There were plenty of right sides, but when it comes to between last year and this year, you have to factor in strength of schedule for last year and for this year. I haven't done that yet. I won't do that for months. You have to factor in the injury losses. You have to factor. I mean, there's so many things to factor. All I do now is, what would this team's power rating be at the end of the season if they were healthy? And to me, that's the very first step of what is going to be a long process before next year's season win report gets released, generally at the end of July. And I'm proud of myself, again, for getting this out early. At the end of July, Bills under 6.5. We laid 150 there. By the end of August, Bills were under 5.5, and you had to lay $2, and you didn't cash your ticket. So that's one situation where getting that out early and getting it to my clients early ended up being the difference between a win and a loss. And, of course, for a season win, that matters enormously, because we're talking about locking up your money for extended stretches. You're locking up your money for a 6-month span before you can collect. So those season win bets, you better win those. And when they come down to the hook, getting the best of the number made a huge difference for Buffalo this year.
I love it, Teddy. Organized, getting ahead of the markets makes a lot of sense as far as cash and wins. So look forward to that coming out next year, end of July. Look out for that Teddy Covers season win total report. Teddy, let's get into the games. We got Saturdays, January 5th, 2019. That is Indianapolis versus Houston. They're at Houston here. 47 the total, with Houston laying 2 or 2.5, depending where you shop.
Okay, so there are no look-ahead lines, obviously, for the playoff games, because nobody knew the matchups last week at this time. I have my powering number, the powering differential between the two teams with the home field factors in, and my number here is 3. Houston 3 over Indy. So we're not talking about a major differential between my number where the markets are. That being said, there is clearly going to be Colts money. All right. The bookmaker's already at 2. Penny's at 2.5 minus 0.1. Indy with the impressive performance on national TV on Sunday night. This line's not going to 3. At 3, there will be the buyers for Indy. And big buyers for Indy. They're already buyers at 2.5. You see what I'm saying? Significant potential injury concern for the Colts when it comes to Ryan Kelly, their starting center. Houston's defensive front was dynamite all year. Now, their strength is on the edges, obviously, with Clowney on the one side and Watt on the other. But Indy without their starting center, and he's not officially out this week, but it's definitely an injury worth monitoring. Injury worth monitoring for Houston, Kiki Kute, their number 2 receiver. Well, I mean, they've had so many number 2 receivers. They had Will Fuller. He went out for the year. They had traded for Demaryius Thomas. He went out for the year. They haven't had another guy other than DeAndre Hopkins. They might need him. They will need him to do something. Somebody other than Hopkins to do something in this ballgame when it comes to catching passes downfield. Kiki Kute at times this season has been an excellent contributor out of the slot. He's been banged up down the stretch and did not play yesterday, but it's definitely an injury worth noting for Houston. If he plays, and again, if Kelly plays, no one's going to change their Colts power rating, but it makes the Colts a lot better. If Kute plays, it's not going to change their power rating in Houston, but it makes the Texans a lot better. So those 2 injuries in particular are 2 that I'm going to keep my eye on this week. And we'll talk about the future book in just a minute. But here's my little tidbit. The winner of this game goes to the Super Bowl from the AFC.
Boom. Hitting him with some knowledge. Game 1 there, Teddy. We got 103-104 up next. The night game, Saturday night, Seattle at Dallas. 43 the total, with the Cowboys laying 2.5 across the board at home.
That's not knowledge. That's an opinion. But my opinion is that New England and KC are both vulnerable. And I think that from the AFC, we're going to see a team from the mix. In the NFC, Saints are clearly the team to beat. Saints and Rams, I don't think necessarily anyone's going to knock off those two squads.
Teddy, you're hitting 63% year-to-date in the NFL. Your opinion is knowledge, man.
I appreciate that, but it's an opinion. You know, I'm happy to give knowledge and facts and where's the market going to move and educated opinions. But what I'm saying, I think that the Colts Texans winner is live to go to the Super Bowl from the AFC. That's not a fact yet. If it comes into if a month from now we're talking about the Colts Texans winner going to the Super Bowl, you can go, now it's a fact. Right now, it's only an opinion. Seahawks and the Cowboys. My powering number, Dallas -3. And again, let's talk about the injuries that matter. Seattle's offensive line was all banged up. Remember? I mean, the Seahawks were a team that struggled to run the football early. Russell Wilson under pressure every play. The offensive line improved by leaps and bounds down the stretch. All of a sudden, Chris Carson's running effectively. The ground game able to open things up for Russell Wilson and company. And then down the stretch, certainly this last week, an offensive line that has had their fair share of injuries. They were very ineffective against Arizona. And it was certainly a flat spot for Seattle. They didn't play well in that ballgame. But when you're talking about key injuries, both of these squads have significant concerns on the offensive line. The Cowboys went without a couple of starters again in New York against the Giants. And, of course, Dallas did what they do. Which is, went balls to the wall to win the game in Week 17, the meaningless game, and everyone's all fat and happy. You worry about that, even though they did sit a couple of OL starters market-wise. Like I said, the money, Indy's taking money there. Seattle, Dallas, boy, this feels like a 2.5. There's enough disrespect. That's obviously where it is right now. There's enough disrespect for Dallas in the markets to prevent this from ever getting to 3. There's enough disrespect for Seattle in the markets to prevent this from ever getting much lower than 2.5. It just feels like it's going to sit in this range. There's a couple of places that have 3s, but I'll just, those are the squarest of the square shops where Dallas is, you make the home team 3, and that's that. We are, however, seeing significant movement on this total. Total open 41.5 in that range. Now I'm seeing 43.5s, 44s out there. The money continues to come on the over. If you like the over, bet this sooner rather than later. The betting markets are expecting both teams to be healthier on the offensive line this week than they were last week. But two teams with OL concerns. Watch those injuries as the week progresses.
Yeah, Teddy, you mentioned money on the total. It opened when we started the podcast. Chris was at 43. Of course, they went black. Now at 44. Heritage and Five Dimes just followed. So money as we speak on the over in Seattle and Dallas. We got 2 games left, Teddy. Did want to throw out the coupon code for this podcast. The playoff packages are up at sportsmemo.com, $199. Get you all the way through the Super Bowl, includes any Super Bowl prop package, the handicapper that you choose. Teddy covers being one of the best, obviously, at sportsmemo.com in the NFL, and it would include all of that for $199 with the coupon code PLAYOFF at checkout. Take $100 off, just $99 for the full playoff package, playoff service at sportsmemo.com. That coupon code is playoff. Teddy, we got the 2 games on Sunday, want to get into. First, wanted to get your thoughts real quick on the future book odds. Any Super Bowl futures you think are worth taking a shot here?
Yeah, hang on a second, though. You just gave away the playoff, like everything in the playoffs through the Super Bowl, including the prop. I mean, the prop report is something we take very, very seriously. That's not, let's kid around and play some props. That's, okay. We go to town on the props, so $99 is as good a deal as I'm not thrilled, but whatever, it's fine.
It's just the Super Bowl playoff package.
It's fine. Happy New Year. It's a good value package if you're interested in running through the playoffs. That's something you want to get on board with today. What's the playoff is the code. You were asking about the Superbook, right? Or I'm sorry, the future book.
Yeah, any futures you're liking in the NFL? You think anybody?
Well, let me just run with I got the Westgate odds open right here. The Superbook odds open. Right now, the Saints are the favorites, plus 225 to win the Super Bowl. I got the second choice is the Chiefs at plus 400, the Rams at plus 500, and the Patriots at plus 600. So the 4 teams that have the bye are the clear favorites. The rest, you're talking all long shots. The Chargers are the one team that's gotten a fair bit of high. Oh, the Bears at plus 900. That's not, by the way, that's an off-market number a little bit on the Bears. Other books are higher on Chicago, but the Westgate Superbook has plus 900 on Chicago. The Chargers at plus 1,600. And then you're starting to get into the long shots. You know, Cowboys plus 2,500, Seahawks 25 to 1, Texans 25 to 1, Ravens are 20 to 1, Colts are 20 to 1. Some of the longer shots. But if I'm going to make one bet, I can't. I have to make two. But I will bet the Colts and the Texans futures off of this. I think they are live. Those two teams are live to win the AFC. And we talk about the Texans at 25 to 1 right now, and the Colts at 25 to 1. You can bet them both and be in position to cash a ticket. Frankly, the better bet might be for those two teams to win the AFC as opposed to the Super Bowl. I'm not a big fan of future book wagers, and remember, with the majority of these future book wagers, that's the lazy way to bet it. Okay, the real way to bet the Colts or the Texans, you bet them on the money line in the first week, and then you bet them on the money line in the second week, and you bet them on the money line in the third week, and then if you want, you bet them on the money line in the Super Bowl. You will get a better return on your investment generally from those type of wagers, but you have to remember to do it every week, which is something with the future book. All you do is you make your bet and you forget about it, and then maybe you cash your ticket when all's said and done. So it takes more work to do it that way, but it generally offers better returns when you do it that way as well. Both Indy or Houston will be underdogs on the road next week in the playoffs.
Yeah, and just to reiterate what Teddy was saying, it's just more expensive to bet the futures, guys, in a lot of sports. And if you're new to sports betting out there and you're just coming into the podcast, one, we welcome you. Feel free to reach out to us on Twitter at Teddy_covers or at Drew Martin Bets on Twitter. Any questions you have towards sports betting. But it mainly just comes down to they charge more to make the bets in the futures books rather than just betting a game, a spread or money line like Teddy was talking about. So
sure, your standard juice for a game, you're laying -1, main 11 to win 10, -110 on either side. When you talk about future book odds, many times you're laying -150, -160, -180, -$2. The margin of profit for the books from the future wagers is significant, and that's why literally in every sports book in Las Vegas, in New Jersey, Mississippi, West Virginia, wherever you go, you're going to see those future book odds prominently posted right when you walk in the door. There's something of a sucker bet. The best way to bet it is if you want the future bet, find your team, ride them every week on the money line. You can roll it over. You can choose to pull some out and only bet half the next week. It gives you a lot more flexibility, and it does give you the option to parlay your wager individually, personally, week after week, to maximize your return.
Teddy, we got 2 games left. The early game on Sunday, and I'll tell you, this is the most surprising line to me because they're all tight lines. All 4 games here, Wildcard weekend, are all under a touchdown, and they all have the home team favored in these tight lines. This one was the one where I thought the Chargers might be favored. It looks like the market agrees with me. It opened up. First of all, this is the LA Chargers at the Baltimore Ravens, 105-106, the rotation number on the Sportsmemo odds screen. Opened up Baltimore -3 at home. Now seeing 2.5 pretty much across the board. Actually, Westgate showing 1.5, so some opinion in the marketplace. 41.5 the total, Teddy.
Early opinion. And what you'll see, and especially when you're not talking about the key number of 3, 1.5, 2, 2.5. The books will bounce around off those numbers. Same story in the 7.5, 8, and 8.5 range. They're not always as concerned at everyone being at the same number. Like when it's 3, if one book's sitting at 2.5, there's going to be a deluge of money coming in on that side. L.A. Baltimore, my poverty number has the Ravens -2. Markets, as you said, in this 2.5 range. I do think there will be some Chargers money. There's already been some Chargers money. I don't think there's necessarily going to be enough Chargers money to make LA the favorite by kickoff. And I cashed a ticket betting against Baltimore yesterday, and I don't know if it wasn't a wrong side, it wasn't a right side, it was a coin flip game that I ended up on the right side of the decision for. But the Ravens running game was so dominant in that contest. 16 rushing first downs. They only allowed 1. Those are the type of stats for teams that cover point spreads, but it's also a rookie quarterback in the playoffs against a good pass rush and a good defense, and against Phillip Rivers. These two teams played, just 2 weeks ago in L.A., and Baltimore was clearly the better squad that week. The Chargers played again poorly this past Sunday. They got the job done in Denver. They got the win. They got the cover. We use that as a free play for the clients. Hope you're able to cash in with that one. But it wasn't the Chargers playing good football. It was the Broncos being inept, which there was a fair bit of yesterday. We'll talk about that when we get to the Eagles and their matchup with the Redskins yesterday. But, Rivers and the Chargers have been something of a sexy team in the betting markets all year. And there's certainly, when you talk about in the AFC, where New England looks more vulnerable than they have, where there's a lot of concerns about KC's defense. And, the Chargers are the number 3 choice when you look at those future book odds we just went through. And there's a lot of latent respect in the markets for L.A., and Baltimore starting a rookie quarterback. So you say, where's this line going? It can only be Chargers money, despite A, the Ravens' dominance over this team 2 weeks ago, and B, Baltimore's number 1 overall defense. That was pretty darn solid down the stretch this season. The money's going to come on L.A., and maybe not a ton of it, but we're already seeing some at plus 2.5. If you want the Chargers on the money line, now's the time to do it. I'll put it that way.
Guys, we got one game left here, Philadelphia, Chicago. Don't forget about the coupon code here, playoff, at checkout for the rest of the NFL season. That's our playoff package. Includes all the way through the Super Bowl props, everything included with that. And with the coupon code, playoff, at checkout at sportsmemo.com, take $100 off, just $99 for the rest of the NFL season package. We got 107-108, the later game on Sunday, Teddy. Philadelphia at Chicago, 41 the total. Seeing now 6, 5.5, depending where you shop. That's the Bears laying at home in Soldier Field.
Yeah, first money has come in on Chicago. This opened in the 4.5 range last night. That's exactly where my power rating is. I shouldn't say last night, because last night they didn't post because there were concerns about what was going to happen at the quarterback position for the Eagles. If Nate Sudfeld had to go for Philadelphia, this line would be a fair bit higher. Foles has been upgraded to probable. He took a nasty hit in the ribs yesterday. That's not an injury that I want. That's a significant injury against the Bears pass rush. I'll just leave it at that. And when you talk about Philadelphia, there's going, again, latent respect in the markets. There's a fair bit of latent respect for the Philadelphia Eagles. They won the Super Bowl last year. They've dominated the Redskins as much as a team can be dominated in Week 17. They went to the Rams and won a shootout. It's an Eagles team. They beat up the Giants. It's an Eagles team that there is some love for right now, and yet the money's coming on Chicago. That has everything to do with the concerns about Nick Foles and his rib injury. You don't want bruised ribs going against a Bears defense that has been absolutely dominant down the stretch. Now, Matt Nagy had an interesting situation yesterday, and he played it out. He in theory, and the Twitterverse, of course, was going nuts. They're like, no, Nagy, you're supposed to lose this game. Play your starters for the half, then lose in the second half, and then you get to play Minnesota again next week because you own that team, and you want to play Philly. Yeah, that's easy enough to say when you're, sitting at a Twitter armchair quarterback. Nagy, in all kinds of different quotes, he said, I really didn't know what to do at halftime of that game. I felt like the best thing to do was to just keep our starters in there. But then they played the whole game, and now they didn't get the rest. And they didn't get the R&R that may have worked in their favor. I don't disagree with the concept. And certainly, when you talk about a scary team in the postseason, you take away Trubisky, the Bears look kind of scary. Although, I'll tell you what, injury, we talked about Foles as a significant injury. Was it Anthony Miller limped off the field? Allen Robinson limped off the field. That's a big part of their passing attack. And Eddie Jackson's a question mark in the secondary, which you want defenders against Foles because Philadelphia has been significantly better. Obviously, I mean, Sproles has been a big difference for them. But when they've got their playmakers at wide receiver healthy, which they do right now, you're going to need all hands on front in the defense for Chicago. And Jack's certainly an impact player in that regard. But when it comes to this point spread, we saw it go up to 6. Now we're back down to 5.5. So the markets are saying, all right, we've reached our point total, sitting at 41, and we're only going to see under money in this ballgame. I haven't looked at a weather forecast yet, but the Bears and the wise guys are not going to be putting a lot of money on Bears overs in the postseason. Not with Fangio's defense, and certainly not with. And Mitch Trubisky may not be a rookie quarterback. He's played like a rookie. I've got my concerns about Trubisky moving forward, and that is Chicago's biggest weakness heading into the postseason. We'll see if Nagy and company can mask that weakness against last year's Super Bowl winner.
Teddy covers at 63% in the NFL year to date. Since 2015, 58%. That's on over just about 300 plays released in that time frame. 58% in the NFL. Nothing to shake your hat out there. Teddy, you got a Sugar Bowl ticket here. You got a New Year's Eve bankroll boost on the slate for today. Anything else you want to throw out on the podcast?
I don't want to throw anything out, man. I like everyone. I want to give good info. But yeah, we're locked and loaded. We got a couple of bowl winners for today and tomorrow. You can get on board right now at sportsmemo.com. And obviously we'll have the playoff package posted later in the week. I don't know if it's going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. When I'm comfortable, I'll release. And it's just that simple. But, everything's up every day. Any hoops will be up by 9 a.m. Pacific time on New Year's Day. And obviously now, the next couple of days is all about bowls. And then it's NFL playoffs and hoops pretty much from here on out. So looking forward to a very happy and profitable new year. And hopefully we'll, you guys will have, number one, be safe out there. Number two, have fun out there. Number three, need some help. Check out sportsmemo.com. We'll see what we can do. Great time to get on board.
Great time to get on board. And remember the coupon code PLAYOFF at checkout for the rest of the NFL season. The playoff service here from $199 down to $99, $100 in savings with the coupon code PLAYOFF at checkout. For Teddy Covers, I'm Drew Martin. Happy New Year out there, guys. Be safe. Best of luck with your bets. We'll talk to you on Wednesday.
Welcome to the Ford Innovate 191 sales event, driving better SUV value for you. Take the new Ford EcoSport, featuring Ford Sync navigation with touchscreen, Ford Pass with Wi-Fi connectivity, rear-view camera, parking sensors and cruise control. And right now, you can order a 191 Ford EcoSport with an amazing 7-year warranty, 7-year roadside assistance and 2 years free servicing. All from just €23,525. Ford Innovate, driving better value for you. See it for yourself at your local participating Ford dealer. Offer ends January 31st. Ford, go further. Price excludes delivery and related charges. Terms and conditions apply. See Ford.ie for details. Welcome to the Ford Innovate 191 sales event, driving better SUV value for you. Take the incredible Ford Kuga, featuring Ford Sync with touchscreen, smartphone mirroring, leather trim and key-free system. And right now, you can order a 191 Ford Kuga with an amazing 7-year warranty, 7-year roadside assistance and 2 years free servicing. All from just €28,450. Ford Innovate, driving better value for you. See it for yourself at your local participating Ford dealer. Offer ends January 31st. Ford, go further. Price excludes delivery and related charges. Terms and conditions apply. See Ford.ie for details.